Welcome to Drop the Clutch podcast.
Hey everyone, this is season 2, episode 12 of Drop the Clutch. We have a lot to talk about this episode because we missed one out because some of us weren't very well last week. Me.
Stop tempting fate. It's not only that, as someone decided that 3 Grand Prix in 3 weeks would be a good idea.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to put money on the Olympics having half a factor in that decision, but never mind.
Just like it did when we had a month break between the Speedway of Nations and Cardiff. Yeah.
Yeah, and why the Speedway of Nations was 2 weeks earlier this year.
Yeah. It's because of the Olympics. Because who was mostly showing the Olympics? Eurosport. Anyway.
Well, that's by the by. We have had Wrocław, we have had Riga, we have had Premiership playoffs.
We have had controversy in Premiership playoffs.
We have controversy everywhere. I think you have controversy in the Championship playoffs as well. So
yeah, still not over that. Still a bit annoyed about that. But yeah, get down to Oxford for the meeting. Not even to be on. Wasted flex time at work. So thanks, Scunthorpe.
Was that Scunthorpe's problem? Where was that? Oxford or?
They were refusing to ride the Oxford track. Although looking at it, after they got the motorway blade on it, they just made it worse.
Okay, that's not. How often does blading a track make it worse?
It was picking up the wet stuff and just moving it around, and it
rather than
the back straight.
Rather than dragging it off. Okay.
Yeah, they literally it pulled up off the corners, and then it was just being dumped at the end on the back straight. So,
what they expect? Whether they have a digger or something to pick it back up with?
Apparently not.
Well, that's fucking stupid.
I would have just said get the regular grader on it, turn the wet stuff over, and just bring up the dry stuff. But no, it was. Anyway, I'm not talking about that because I'm just going to get angry.
Blading the track is never something you want to do anyway.
No.
It destroys the race surface.
Yeah, it does. It destroys track surfaces in general, to be honest, as well. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something you want to be doing as a track curator. It's very much your last resort. Anyway, Grand Prix. The lead of Zmarzlik is chipping away, but I think it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
He's still running away with it. He's dipped in Cardiff, in Wrocław. He came back in Riga with a win.
Yeah.
But he still wasn't his best in the slightest. It's still his championship to lose. He can win it this weekend.
Oh dear.
The real fight now, as I've said, it was either the last episode or the episode before that, the real focus now needs to be on 2 to 7. Who's making the other podium spots, who's making it to the top 6, because that's where the fight really is now.
I reckon it's staying the way it is now.
I'm not as sure. I have a gut feeling because it's so tight at the top, and I know what Lambert is like. He can fold under pressure slightly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't want to say write him off, but I wouldn't be that surprised if Vojens does leapfrog him. I don't know, maybe by Torren. If Lambert just he feels the pressure of being in third place too much. I don't see him overtaking Lindgren unless Lindgren gets injured at Vojens.
Lambert's been far more consistent than Vojens this season. I don't personally see that happening.
This is true, and the difference is 15 points, so it would take a lot, but it's Lambert.
It would take Lambert having a really, really poor GP by only scoring a few championship points for that to happen.
Or Lambert missing out on both finals and Vojens making both finals.
Yeah.
by, well, let's say Lambert ends it with 10 points. Vashlik finishes third in both of them.
Yeah.
That's a difference of 18 times 260. That would be enough.
Yeah.
But it's all numbers at this point. There are too many numbers for this kind of thing.
True.
Wrocław was a Wrocław track. I think, again, with Zmarzlik retiring in his semi-final round, you can't read an awful lot into that. When you see what happened, that was the track doing that. That wasn't him.
Yeah.
Because he hit Burma dirt on the outside of the home straight. He's hit it too hard and it shed his chain.
Okay.
So like I said, you can't read too much into that. So then he comes back in Riga. He doesn't seem any better though. He just seemed to take to the track more at the end of it.
He just got really fucking lucky.
Mm.
And that's all I'm saying, because I don't like the fella. Although everybody knows that by now.
Yeah, I think everyone and their mother knows that by now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just going to let you talk about him then, because I'm not saying anything.
But like I said, I think this year now the real focus needs to be on the other podium positions and the top six. There's 5 points now between. There's 5 points difference between Bewley in sixth, Jack Holder in seventh.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Holder is really the only rider outside the top six who can make it.
But his form's fallen off.
His form has fallen off, but mathematically, really, is the only rider who's realistically in with a chance.
Yeah.
Next closest is Kubera, and the difference is 22 points.
Yeah.
Although, I did just see we're going forward now. This would be a slight preview for Vojens. Leon Madsen has withdrawn from Vojens.
Yeah, I saw that. Apparently he's still feeling the after effects of a crash.
Which is interesting, because it's the one at Riga, and he continued to ride. We can discuss. We can discuss that one when we discuss Riga, but there's not much really to say about Wrocław. In truth,
No.
It was like the track was how it normally is. Really, nothing really to say. It didn't really open anything up in terms of the Grand Prix series. Lindgren, I think, overtook Lambert in that round. That was probably it.
Yeah.
So then you move on to Riga. And
a track that really shouldn't be on the GP calendar because it's dangerous.
I don't know if it's dangerous as such. It's just different. Riders have problems with it. Riders had problems with it last year. I think it was definitely better this year than it was last year. Riders were able to take to it better than they did.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop at least one rider getting injured. But there you go. A lot of people, this is like the main controversy from that round. Should Zmarzlik have been thrown out in Heat 4?
Yes.
No. See? Now, I point back to Gorzov when Mikkelsen took Woofenden out, and that ultimately ended Woofenden's season.
Yeah.
It was a fairly similar incident, but Woofenden got thrown out for that, and I said that one was wrong.
True.
The difference is you've got Mikkelsen coming around the outside. On the exit of turn 2, he lifts and grabs Zmarzlik's throttle hand. That causes Zmarzlik to lose control and pulls them both into the fence.
Yeah, true.
But what I noticed with the referee in particular, it's the same referee in both rounds, Jesper Steentoft. I think he has a preference to exclude a rider who is injured.
That's just mean.
I don't. There may be some practical element to it, and this is pure speculation on my part. But it would alleviate the need to bring a reserve in for a heat, and an injured rider is much less likely to find the phone in the pits and smash it to pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the referee got that one right. I think Mikkelsen, he's hit grip around the outside and collided with Zmarzlik. It's not the other way around. Like it looks sort of when you're looking sort of from the home straight, there's a side on view.
Yeah.
It looks more like Zmarzlik has just lost control and wiped out Mikkelsen. But what you see on from behind on the second turn, it's more that Mikkelsen has lifted and put and snatched on Zmarzlik's handlebars.
Yeah.
Which means that's not Zmarzlik's fault.
Stop defending the guy, honestly.
I have due impartiality.
Yeah, okay, somewhat like that.
But I'm saying this from someone who, watching it live from that home straight angle, initially thought the Zmarzlik was gone.
Okay.
So I'm not defending Zmarzlik because he's Zmarzlik. You know, I called it. I said initially Zmarzlik is gone because I couldn't see that initial loss of control from Mikkelsen.
Okay.
That initial thing causes the entire incident.
True.
But that's like the main controversy. Looking at that angle, I don't actually understand why people think that was Zmarzlik's fault.
Okay.
I can see it. So I can see it in like it comes partly from the first angle we saw on the TV, plus more general like confirmation bias in humans that you want to confirm what you already believe versus change your opinion on something.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from my point of view, there's nothing wrong with that. It was. I think it was the right decision in the end.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, that was like between that and Jack Holder wiping out Leon Madsen in Heat 18, the riders were mostly fine with the track. It wasn't a great track for racing, granted, but it wasn't like last year. It wasn't the case that riders couldn't ride it.
Mm.
And they have actually installed floodlighting there now.
Yay!
Side note to listeners, if you're wondering why last year's Grand Prix at Riga was held at like in the middle of the afternoon, that's why. Last year there was no floodlight in there.
Yeah, that's why.
But yeah, otherwise it was it was kind of the big win that Zmarzlik probably needed. Even though he didn't finish the meeting top scorer in the old point system, and he wasn't at his best. He just had the luck of the draw and came out.
He always gets the pissing luck of the draw.
I'm not saying anything.
Personally, I think his luck's running out. He's been in a few crashes this year.
He has, but he was last year as well. The big difference, though, is that he's not the one causing them this time.
Vojens is going to go.
Vojens is Vojens. It's a very flat track. It's not my favourite track, to be honest. I don't expect much.
Left a sour taste in my mouth the last time.
Well, what happened?
When the sun was held there.
Oh, that, yeah.
Was shit all week.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's a Vojens track. You've got to pound it. It's already rock solid anyway. Like
exactly. Put some dirt on it. It won't kill it.
If they need dirt, they need banking. That's what they need.
You
know, go from Vojens to Torrent, and the banking difference is astronomical.
It's ridiculous.
Make Glasgow a Grand Prix track. That would be interesting.
They held the GP challenge there.
Yeah, riders can stay on the bike.
A couple of years ago, and bloody hell, I can't even remember what time we got back to Lynn's house that night. Oh my god!
The meeting wrapped up about 10 o'clock, didn't it?
No, because they kept having long ass stoppages because they don't have a curfew there.
So they had to have the ambulance
as long as they wanted. Yeah,
they had to have the ambulance out like 3 times.
It was an interesting night, to say the least. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see how Zmarzlik would get to grips with Glasgow, although I think he's ridden there before. After the Speedway of Nations in 2021, GB and Poland had a test match there, didn't they?
Yeah,
So he's
they
ridden
did.
there once.
But also then riders couldn't stay on the bike.
It was Scotland and it was the end of October. It was going to be shit.
Yeah, true.
Sorry to any Scottish viewers or listeners or whatever, but it's the truth because, you know, the UK weather is bad enough. You put in Scotland and it's like its own weather is on steroids in comparison to down here in England. It's ridiculous. But yeah.
But yeah, Vojens, I think Vojens will be the Grand Prix that decides a lot of things. If not definitely, as in like beyond any other result. But I think if Lambert is still in third place with a semi-decent lead, say maybe 8 or 9 points, he will likely stay there, for instance. Likewise, if Bewley extends his lead over Jack Holder, he will stay in 8th as well. I think in 6th, sorry. I think Vojens will be where most of the things will be all but decided.
Yeah.
And then Torren will come along and just set them all beyond doubt.
Yup.
But like you were saying with Zmarzlik, he has been involved in a few crashes. I know I said at the start of the year, this was the year he was going to get injured in some way.
And the rumour was that he did.
Yeah, although it didn't affect him. Or not, at least not in the Grand Prix anyway. I think it did at the SON. Although that's debated.
How true it is, we'll never know.
Well, something must have made him go through the tapes.
You blame Kai Huckenbeck all you want, it was still your fault.
Well, this is the thing. A rider moves next to you. It's your responsibility not to move. Exactly.
Because we all saw how whiny he was on the replays. Huckenbeck moved, and you still can't plough through the tapes. Get a grip or go away.
Should we get all the people like my dad who say we should go back to allowing moving at the start, even touching the tapes? No, mate.
I'm going to go with no on that one.
The bikes can't handle it. If you ever look back at old meetings from the 70s going into the early 80s, you were at the start line for 10 seconds or more sometimes.
Yeah.
Modern bikes can't handle that.
No. Laydowns can't handle that.
No.
Because there's more power in laydowns.
Yeah, I think the uprights could barely handle it.
Exactly. God.
It wasn't. It did make it entertaining though. Just a rider constantly bouncing off the tapes. Like
a flipping laydowns like sitting on a rocket.
Yeah.
As somebody told me before. I'm not sure who's told me, but somebody's like sitting on a laydown and actually getting it to stay on track sometimes is like riding a rocket. And I was like, okay.
Particularly when it hits a rut.
Well, we've all seen that.
Yeah. What's even funnier is when a rider comes off because they've hit a rut, their kill switch hasn't come out properly, and the bike just goes all over the place.
That's not funny because they can get injured. Oh, you want about the bike just doing its own thing?
Yeah.
There's a video on YouTube of that before kill switches where the bike's just going everywhere, and the crowd's just like, "Oh shit, that's not meant to."
I mean, to be fair, kill switches do fail every now and again.
Yeah.
So
either that or they don't come out.
Yeah.
It happens far more often than it should.
Yeah.
Maybe the lanyard needs to be looked at, or the mechanism needs to be rethunk. Who knows?
I don't know. But then you see how often a kill switch comes out in the middle of the race when it shouldn't have.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, kill switches, they can and do fail. There's not an awful lot you can do about it. It's like clutch covers. There was a controversy in Riga about that. I was like, controversy. I don't give two shits for it personally, but
Oh yes, was it Dan Bewley's clutch cover came off, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Beauty's clutch cover came off in semi 2, and it hit Leon Madsen. I don't care for it. It hasn't caused damage to the machine. It hasn't caused injury to another rider. It hasn't caused someone to come off. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's not worth the referee's time to look at that and throw a rider out for it.
No.
Although to
Even
be
though
fair,
Madsen tried.
yeah. Although that being said, I kind of take the same view I kind of take the same view when a rider impedes another rider that doesn't cause them to come off. It's not worth the referee's time.
Get them elbows out.
Do it, honestly.
As they say, makes it more entertaining.
Yeah, like genuinely, I don't see anything in that.
No.
They can and do come off. You are supposed to have one fitted. How much you can get away with them flying off in the middle of the heat, I don't know. I've never seen a rider thrown out for it.
All it takes is a bolt or a screw coming loose.
Yeah.
And it's like, whee!
I mean, this is just a clutch cover. I remember one meeting in Poland where Lindgren's actual clutch fell apart mid-race.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I remember that well. I mean, this is during lockdown, I think. Meetings picked up in Poland, and there's just a replay of Lindgren packing up, and me and my dad just wondering, what's this weird round thing bouncing along the track?
It's a clutch plate.
Yeah, they show the inside view of the clutch plate just coming straight off.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah.
But yeah, like that kind of thing, it does happen. There are rules on what you need to have on a speedway bike. There are rules on what you need to have when a race starts, but you can dispose of once the race has started. For instance, goggles, you need to have them on at the start of the race, but you can take them off during the race. No one in their right mind would recommend it,
No.
but
I vaguely remember a meeting at Birmingham. I think it was the first season they were back in the championship. It might have been 2019.
mm-hmm.
Yes, because Sheffield was still in the league at the time. And Cole Howarth got excluded for coming to the start tapes without gloves on.
Yeah. Yeah, because he exceeded the 2 minutes. Yeah.
He just came to the tapes without gloves on. Rookie mistake on his part.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There are some things that a rider needs on their bike. I'm not sure. You probably do need a clutch cover at least at the start of the heat, but I think once the heat started, no one cares if it falls off.
As long as nobody's fingers or foot or extremity gets stuck in it, then there's not a problem.
Pretty much. And it's like it's the same with anything, like the front wheel, for instance. You know,
okay, you definitely need that.
Well, yeah, but every now and again you'll see a rider's foot peg go through someone else's front wheel or something like that. It happens.
Ow, that's an expensive thing to replace.
Mm.
Wheels aren't cheap.
No, but
anyway,
it just happens.
Let's talk about Premiership playoff controversy.
Oh yes,
and then we can wrap up because that's pretty much everything we were meant to talk about.
Pretty much.
Again, apologies for being ill last week. Some selfish fucker from work gave me COVID again.
Anyway, Premiership event at Ipswich was Ipswich. Let's be real here. Vauxhall was not my favourite track. No. It's usually pretty dull. Leicester was thrown open by the weather, which made it interesting.
Wet bog.
Wet bog is how you describe the outside of the track, really. Yeah. At least after the first 4 or 5 heats.
Apparently, there was a downpour about 5 minutes before start time.
Something like that, yeah.
At least that's what the update says.
Yeah, I think there were intermittent but heavy showers in the 2-3 hours leading up to the meeting.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to make it wet. They want to get the meeting on as much as possible because running 2 playoff semi-finals on the same day. As for instance, like if we remember back when Sky and BT were broadcasting it, they always tried to like zip merge the two meetings together. So like you show one heat from one meeting and then you switch over to the other meeting and then you go back and forth, back and forth. That never works. Let's be real here.
No, it didn't work on Wednesday either.
No, because Oxford's in there. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that kind of merging two meetings together on TV doesn't work. And let's be real here, Eurosport wouldn't go for it anyway. By the time you get to sort of like 5 o'clock, you want to get the meeting on at all costs because particularly Eurosport cameras, their equipment's already there. Officials, a referee, start marshal, etc. They'll all be there then, or at least be heading in that direction. You know, there will be a lot of expenses that a team or a staging promotion would still need to cover, even if the meeting gets abandoned.
Yeah, ambulance, etc.
Yeah.
The huge fine from the BSBA, because apparently if you cancel a meeting after lunchtime, you get a massive fine, which again is counterproductive, but British Speedway always knows how to shoot itself in the foot. So
yeah,
I'm surprised there's not scars in the foot by now because it's been shot that many times.
Oh no, it's been shot too many times. It can't heal itself.
Yeah, all that.
But yeah, there are it's abandoning a meeting before it starts after around lunchtime is a logistical nightmare anyway, because expenses will still have to be paid by the staging promotion.
Yeah,
that's why you see so many prospective abandonments. So abandonments made 2-3 days ahead of time based on a forecast. As much as I don't like them, it is the best way that staging promotion has to prevent a sky high
bill.
expense bill, basically, which explains your headache at Oxford.
Yeah. Well, if they put the tractor on it at 6 o'clock when we got there, we would have had a meeting on Wednesday. But again, I'm not going to talk about that because I just get angry.
Yeah, but that's a dispute over how you grade the track. That's either way. So at Leicester, you get a heavy downpour at the start of the meeting. You kind of let the track dry out a bit. I don't know if they did any work on the track after any of those downpours. It looks like they probably did, but it's unclear based on the updates forum when those downpours were.
I think they were pushing water off the track.
Yeah. But obviously, a wet speedway track will always make it a lottery, and you see it in Heat 1 straight away. Yankovic, he gets a nudge off a rider, I can't remember his name. Max Frick, that was it. Gets a nudge off Frick, runs him wide. He finds the wet stuff on the outside of turn 1, can't turn the bike.
Yeah.
There's always arguments about factoring in the conditions. In terms of refereeing decisions, I always see that as a courtesy, especially with someone like Quebec. The referee gave him time to clear the track. He didn't, but he could have done.
Yeah.
And Leicester are on a 5-1.
Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking it's entering professional foul territory. Even if he didn't mean to come off, looking at how the race developed, he wasn't in a rush to clear the track. He wanted the race stopped.
Yeah.
Which makes me more favourable in excluding him. Not that I needed to be. I always say that if a referee takes account of the conditions, it's a courtesy. Speedway riders, particularly in the Premiership, particularly Yankovic is a Grand Prix rider, he should be able to ride most conditions without sliding off on the first turn because he can't turn the bike. Especially when it takes him a good 4 seconds to go down after the initial nudge. He just keeps going to the outside and then slowly downs the bike.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I always say that if the referee takes note, makes account of the conditions in saying, okay, we'll give them another chance, make it all 4 back, that's a courtesy on behalf of the referee.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, Christina Turnbull, whether that's how she normally referees, I don't know. or whether she was under pressure from Eurosport to get the meeting started. I'm not sure. Either one is likely, I think. But either way, Christina Turnbull wasn't willing to give that to make account of that. Or if she did, she didn't think the conditions caused that crash.
No.
But like I said, when it drifts into that professional foul territory, I don't like it anyway. But then Heat 3. Now, Heat 3 is a very interesting one. You've got fucking hell, who was it? You've got Becca and Keenan Rue on the inside two gates. They go to the first corner first. Masters completely misses a start. I don't know if he spins up or something, but whatever. And Brennan coming around from the outside. He tries to come into the inside a little bit. Rue is moving out, and he takes Becca's front wheel. Not Becca, sorry. He takes Brennan's front wheel. The thing is, that anyone would say reasonably that's probably all four. Like I said, I would take all four for that. Considering all the factors, the referee threw Keenan Rue out, and I can understand the decision. The decision is because obviously a rider cannot take their own teammate out. That should seem obvious, but they can't. Which would give, particularly as someone like Christina Turnbull who's been around a long time as a referee, it always used to be back in sort of like the 2000s going into the early 2010s that if a rider took their teammate out, you were predisposed to exclude them regardless of the circumstances. Particularly say on the first turn like this was. The real question is, has Becca pushed Rue out, or are they just both following the racing line?
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say the second one.
It's a difficult one. I don't really see anyone making any note of it. If they're both on the racing line, and it's all four. If Rue has come off the racing line but Becca hasn't, then Rue should go. But if they've both come off the racing line, then it's all four again.
Yeah. True.
It's that question again. Who is the primary cause of the stoppage? If there is one, you exclude them. If there isn't, there's all four.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can understand that decision. It's simply Christina Turnbull saying, well, you've taken your own rider out, therefore you're excluded. But it certainly wasn't the first decision that came to my mind.
No.
Other than that, there was nothing. And a lot of people are saying that her first good decision was like 5 or 6 down the line. I disagree. If a rider goes down on their own in the first turn, they still need to be excluded. If it's any other part of the track, they'd be excluded. Sam Masters, his bike packed up on the start line, ran out of time on the 2 minutes. He has to go. Luke Becker, he comes in hot on the third turn, takes out Jankovic, takes a leg away. He has to go, and he was excluded.
Yeah.
Danny King runs out into the heavy stuff on turn 2, pulls a locker and high sides it. He has to go. So I don't really understand the controversy. The controversy seems to be people thinking that the referee should have considered the conditions in Heat 1 and put all four back in, which he shouldn't. And people thinking that Keenan Rue shouldn't have been excluded in Heat 3, and it should have been all four back, which I can understand. But that's a difference of opinion. It's not a difference in the rule book.
No.
Like people make a lot about first bend bunching, the rule book doesn't have that.
No. This is true.
The only thing I really asked the question about is why wasn't Max Frick thrown out in Heat 13?
Yeah.
He'd come off the start line in Gate 2. He'd lifted, collided with Jankovic, and then ran across the track and took Adam Ellis out. He's lifted before the contact, so he's already lost control. So he should go.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. That's the only decision I disagree with Christina Turnbull on, as in completely disagree. Like I said, the Heat 3 one I understand, but I would have gone the other way personally. But I say that the decision in Heat 13 was wrong. which would have made it very interesting, especially if the rerun had played out in exactly the same way, because that would have seen Luke Becker thrown out and a 5-0 to Ipswich.
You need to be a referee.
Nah.
Change.org petition for Frankie to be a speedway referee. Controversy of the fucking century. Some of the decisions you make.
To be fair, I'm quite old-fashioned. I don't agree with. I'm not a fan of all four. I've said it in the past. It's too often used as a cop-out, in my opinion. I understand the desire for 4 riders in the race. I understand that no one wants to see 3-rider races. I don't like when riders start to play the rules for their benefit or for the benefit of their team. I still want a fair competition at the end of the day.
You'd be the most unbiased referee we've ever had in this sport in this country.
You were saying earlier about me defending Zmarzlik.
That's GP, that's different. I'm on about league speedway now. I don't give a shit about that idiot. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I understand the problems with refereeing. That refereeing at both SCB and FIM levels has gone downhill in the last few years. In my opinion, certainly.
Yes, needs fixing.
Well, for me, it says a lot that I now consider Jesper Steentoft a good referee, but that I don't think his standard of refereeing has in any way improved.
Oh dear, that's not a good remark.
No. We've lost some big name referees either through retirement or through death in the last few years. And the new crop that are coming up, they aren't as good yet. Whether they'll become as good remains to be seen.
Who knows? At the moment, I'm going with no.
Yeah, but I say in general, referencing the leg at Leicester literally last night as of recording. To Christina Turnbull, I don't think she did an awful lot wrong with the decision she made.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think you would have to watch the meeting to see whether you agree with me or not. But, I think that there's
a case of watching it back.
Yeah, like I said, for me, there's one odd decision that I can understand, and one decision that I disagree with completely. But besides that, I didn't really have a massive problem.
Fair enough.
But then again, it's so subjective. Refereeing a speedway, like everyone will have a difference of opinion. Some people are more lenient on the first turn than others. It's just the way it is.
It sounds like refereeing in ice hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a penalty. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Blah, 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 blah. Why are they going in the box? It's not a penalty.
This is kind of the thing as well. Like, if it was any other referee that last night, we wouldn't be talking about it.
No, I suppose gender comes into this as well.
I mean, it probably
we
does.
are not sexist. We are not a sexist podcast. I am female myself. I'm just saying because Barbara Hawley gets the same flack for being a woman.
Barbara Hawley.
Yeah. She gets the same flack because she's a woman.
Yeah, I understand it. Like, I mean, it doesn't help for referees. Someone like Margaret Vardy in the past, who was genuinely awful.
Oh God, yeah. Oh dear.
That's a name you remember.
Oh dear.
Yeah, someone like Margaret Vardy in recent years, who was genuinely awful, doesn't help.
No.
But there probably is an undercurrent of sexism in the discussion. I wouldn't be massively surprised, because I can't think of any. Okay, well, I was going to say that I can't think of any FIM referees that are female. That's not technically true. The FIM have a fairly long list of referees from different FM ends that they can pick from. but they only ever pick from a select few off that list for the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
This is where you might occasionally see someone like Christina Turnbull refereeing a World Cup match, which has happened before.
Yeah.
Because Christina Turnbull is an FIM referee.
God help the FIM.
Or at least she was last time I checked.
Yeah.
But like I said, the FIM...
Going on the computer typing to look it up.
No, not me. I'm not looking it up. But yeah, as far as...
I wouldn't know where to look.
It's on the FIM website. There's a document. It's like a list of officials, but it's like 50 pages long.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you kind of have to know what you're looking for. But yeah, last time I checked, she is, or at least was, an FIM referee.
Okay.
So I feel I do feel like she referees more like an FIM referee would.
Yeah.
If you had someone like Jesper Steentoft in the box that night, you probably would have had fairly similar decisions.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can see the difference between someone like her or Craig Ackroyd in the box versus if you had, quickly think of names, Barbara Hawley or Wayne Jarvis in the box.
Yeah.
They're not FIM referees. So I do wonder how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah.
As well.
Fair enough.
But that's that's just the nature of sport. Sometimes you get the decision, sometimes you don't. And like I said, if it was any other referee in that box, you probably would have seen all four back for most of them on the first turn.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And that's the I think that makes more of the difference than a lot of other things that other people are saying, whether she is a poor referee, whether you disagree with her, that's a matter of opinion. It really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like there will be people, particularly on someone like the British Speedway Forum, who will never agree with someone like me or Christina Turnbull or anyone.
Oh, geez, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel if you're bringing up the forum. Bloody hell.
I mean, to be fair, even the Speedway Updates forum, like, some people are so set in their ways about how things should be. They probably remember the old days before TV replays where referees, basically anything that happens in the first turn, would just give all four back because they're going based off their view and nothing else.
This is why the sport needs dragging, kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
Or the 20th. So that's my take on that. Next week we've got the other semi-final, Belle Vue versus Sheffield.
I am going on Monday.
How are you? That's the one at Belle Vue, isn't it?
Thursday is still to be decided, just because as much as I like the city of Sheffield itself, I'm not a massive fan of the two sports teams in it. In the sports I support, if I'm being completely honest. The Sheffield Steelers are a pain in the arse, and so are the Sheffield Tigers. I said what I said. Come after me. I don't care. Come find me trackside. I'll tell you what I really think. Trust me.
Anyway, I think we can end the episode there, really.
Yes. Well, thanks for tuning in. This was a controversial episode yet again.
It was. I expect to be slated. No constructive comments, as always, but
no constructive comments. It's always hate, but we've just got to let the haters keep hating. Yeah. Anyway, no doubt we'll be back. Probably not next week, the week after, depending on when we're all available. Yeah,
we'll find out.
We'll catch you on the next one. Get your backside trackside for the last few weeks of the season. There, said everything.
You have been listening to episode 12 of Drop the Clutch Season 2, presented by Ruth Hannah and Frankie Sparks. Recorded on the 13th of September 2024 and edited by Frankie Sparks. This was a Drop the Clutch production.